Sobe agora a palco Victor Ivanov, Senior Analyst da Context, com o tema Insights into Commercial IT Channel in Portugal.
My name is Victor Ivanov. I represent Context, which is a market research agency. I'll have to, unfortunately I don't speak Portuguese. I can do this presentation in English or in Spanish, as you prefer. I think English would be better. Right, so we'll look into the insight of the market, what is happening in the Portuguese IT market. Before that, let me just give you an insight into who we are, what we do, and why I'm here on the stage. We are a private research company. We work with almost 250 distributors, a little bit more globally on a global scale. We have 66 and actually a little bit more retailers and e-tailers globally, and we do this in 45 countries. So we see what is happening in the IT market globally. And today I would like to give a little bit of insights into what is happening in the channel. Now, before that, this is the methodology and things that we will be covering. So this is the landscape, how all of the vendors, distributors, and market players are acting. We have vendor, the distributor, which is the cornerstone, and this is so important, the role of distributor in this infrastructure. Then we have all the different channel splits, and then we have end user. So we'll be investigating all of those pain points that we're covering here. We get the information from all of those points, and we get the insights into what is happening in the market. Before that, I would like to mention there were two very important events that happened last month. One is the Computex, which is the emblematic and probably the most important corporate event in Taiwan. This was the event that shows you actually what the vendors, what the industry is presenting, what is coming up, and I will be getting to this at the end of the presentation. And also we had GITEX event in Berlin. GITEX is, some of you might know, this is a Middle Eastern event. They originated in Dubai, and they tried to go into Berlin. The message was sort of mixed feelings about this. Some people say it was, well, it's sort of on average, different various opinions about this. Computex was brutal, a lot of new ideas, a lot of new directions and drives. Will be interesting to get into this later. But before that, let's look into Portugal. So we're getting data from all of the major distributors and retailers in Portugal. So let's see what we found. We like Portugal because out of all the countries in Europe, Portugal usually is outperforming all the other countries. On average, if you see this is the development, and Portugal, this is the baseline sort of, and you see what is happening in the market. Portugal is one of the few countries that is doing well. So there is something about you people that you make this happen. Here, this is the average, so the revenue, so everything that the channel is pushing out. And on average, the turnaround is in each month is around 190 million euro, which is not bad at all. And you can see here the seasonality. So nobody removed the seasonality. You can see the two waves. So it goes up into the the end of the year, and then in the mid of the year it goes down again. So this is like two waves that go in sections. I will provide you all the slides later on, so I'll go a little bit faster so that I can cover everything. Again, as you can see, this is the average line that is showing the development of the revenues. The rising line shows not only, or not necessarily the increasing sales, but also increasing prices, ASPs. Inflation, prices are going up, the revenues are going up. But again, beware of what is the driver of this increase. If we look at the sales in general, at the value and the volume, so value market is basically enterprise. Value is business sales. Volume is everything that is commercial sales, translated in other words. So commercial has been going down, and it reflects the consumer patterns, consumer behaviors, whereas the business part is growing. It's 54% growth. It means that all the technological, all the business needs are being reflected in this graph. And traditionally, value market in Portugal has been doing very well. Even when the whole sales are going and all the channels are going down, the value market is outperforming all the other markets, whereas the volume market, as you can see, it stays sort of stable and goes in the trend. Now let's look at the categories. So when we get the data from distributors, when we process this data, we see information by customers, by products, by channels, and all sorts of different insights into the data. So what are the top performing sectors in Portugal? First one is telecom, which is mainly the smartphones. There would be here mobile computing, which is laptops and tablets. Nobody cancel this category. It's still one of the most important categories, old good laptops. And then suddenly we have warranties and services and software and licenses, something not physical, something virtual, but those two categories are still dominant and still in top 5 of all the sales of the channel. Then we have printing consumables. This is the MPS and all the substitution of the printing components. Then you have computing components. We'll touch on this a little bit later. Disk storage, computing, displays, and server computing. Server computing is, of course, all the transition towards higher producing capacity. So when we look at the split of the resellers and the corporate retailers, you can see the development. So corporate resellers, this is special distributors, as you know, who sell into specific projects. And you can see this reflects, so there was some probably big projects happening, and the lung pushed out all of the goods that were necessary. The next month, next period, there is a slowdown, and then it starts growing again. But the outlook is still very positive. So that's outperforming, as a matter of fact. Portugal is outperforming other markets. Let's look at Europe. Why we look at Europe? Because you have trends and the good position. You are very well positioned because you can look at other countries, you can look at other markets, other technologies, and see what is coming to you, and maybe you can have some ideas that you can implement in your businesses. So this is a little bit messy. I apologize for this. These are all the most drivers of the distribution and all the categories that top 10 that are performing well. Let's split it into this picture. You have 3 lines. The bright line, and you will have those slides later on again. It shows you how each year is performing compared, so each period in the past 3 years. The baseline is 2023. And you can see here each sector, how it is performing. Warranties and services, printing consumables, we touched upon that. And this is everything that is happening. So some of the industries are doing better than others. Let's go to the next one is software and licenses. This is one of the best top performers. Software, including security. Cybersecurity is very important. This is one of the drivers. That is why it is outperforming all the other years. Okay, now by countries, Portugal, and Portugal is the only country that is doing very well in this year. So the light line shows you the performance of Portugal in 2025. All other countries are doing not so well, so Portuguese market is an important chance for vendors who look into. We work with lots of vendors. For example, HP before is one of our customers. They look at the data, they look for opportunities, and Portugal is one of the opportunities, just like Spain. So there is something about Iberia that is so attractive. Maybe it could be something like, maybe I always mention this, Iberian Peninsula has an exceptional coverage for fiber optics. So everything, all the data infrastructure is very well set up, much better than in Germany. Maybe the environment, maybe the law system, the taxes, something that attracts businesses, and Spain and Portugal are doing better than the rest of Europe. Again, now we'll look at the main categories. You will have those slides later on. Software and licenses. Again, this is very important. This is one of the things where you have very many new things, very many new vendors, new solutions that are being offered, and the distributors are the ones who translate it all and offer it to the customers. Warranties and services, they're doing sort of okay, well, and it all goes very much in line. So you see the development is very, very following the same pattern. Now, we've been trying to look into some areas where you have better performance or something that goes out of the general development. So, for example, desktop computing, you can see that old desktops, apparently some people were proclaiming that very soon there won't be any desktops, only laptops and maybe smartphones. Well, desktops are still there and they are driving the growth. As a matter of fact, they are outperforming the other years. And following this, so you sell desktop computing and then you sell computing components so that you can refresh and update or upgrade the installed solutions. And we'll touch on this because, as you all know, there is Windows update coming up. Very soon, Microsoft will be pushing all of the updates. Some of them will need new hardware, and that hardware will be reflected over here, right? So computing components is one thing that goes in hand with desktop computing. Network systems, last year there was a huge growth, so that was an update or upgrade of the infrastructure. Wi-Fi 7 standard is coming. This will be reflecting in networking system, which is the switches, the routers, and so on. It needs to be updated. Well, other areas like audio and video systems, they're doing sort of okay. In general, the situation in the IT channel in Europe is not so good. Again, the prices, and there are many other issues. But there are some categories, as we see here, that are still doing very great. The issue is find those categories. Network switches, warranties, everything is sort of going in line. Office application software is surprisingly, we're surprised to see this bright line here is the Office application software, and it has been doing exceptionally well. I don't know what was happening here. We have to look deeper into this, but you can see how some of the categories give you an opportunity. So you have some categories that are traditionally there, not doing well. Well, you have other categories that you can look into and dive into this. And that's the beauty of the data. When you have market analytics, when you have data, so things I could understand from the previous presentation, analytics is very important because it gives you the insights into your potential growth, into the areas where you have some potential. Now, this is the channel split in Europe, and you can see that almost all of the channels are not doing very well. The retail chain, again, this is what is being sold through the whole channel. So the retail chain was outperforming the baseline, so it means it was growing. Basically, this falling line even still shows that it is doing better than 2023. And then small and medium resellers, e-tailers, and so on have been not doing very well in the past couple of weeks. And this is again the development. So retail chain, retail is doing good for some reason. So people are going to retailers and maybe upgrading their notebooks, their laptops. Maybe there are some programs like Kit Digital in Spain where people are given money to update and upgrade their systems. And this is done via retail. So one interesting slide I was trying to get at this. So this is the sales that bypass distribution. So as you know, vendors could be sold as at the beginning of the slide. You have direct sales from vendor going to retail, and this is this slide. This line here. It shows all the sales that go from vendors to retail, bypassing distribution. And then you have sales through distribution, going first to a distributor and then ending up in retail. So for the first time, you can see here that lines crossed, and now more products are going to retail directly from the vendor, and less so going through distribution and then going to a vendor. Why is this happening? Let's look into this. And these are the direct sales by vendors to the end customer. Most likely, this is the online sales that we have. For consumer, if we take one category, the most common and the most known to everybody, which is the consumer PCs, and in this consumer space, it's even worse. So you can see how the sales are going extremely up directly to retail. So retailers are winning the contracts. Distribution is going down, it's decreasing. But in case of business PCs, and this is the business focus, and this is the corporate sector, the distribution is still there. Why? Because of the financial. So we consider distributors not only as a store where you can buy some things, but also it's a bank that offers finance, that finances those sales, and this is why it is reflected here. So a distributor is seen as a bank that can finance all the sales, and this is very important. That's why this graph here, and it is very unlikely to change because retail will never give the financial lever, financial support for the industry. Now, this is a little bit of outlook. I'm very short of time. 4.4% has been reviewed. As you know, just recently the World Bank lowered the growth expectations of Germany and major top 5 European countries. Still, IT sector traditionally outperforms the performance of the economy. We see 4.4% growth, and this has been as a common decision made by vendors, distributors, and the channel. This is split by the countries. I have to rush now because I'm out of time. Major countries, and these are the key takeaways. So first of all, the Portuguese IT channel is outperforming Europe. AI becomes smaller and simpler. This is the takeaway from the Computex. So the performance at a lower cost. The thing here, and the main idea for you guys, sell the things to the right people. When it's something about costs or cost savings, don't sell it to technical guys. Sell it to financial guys who know what it means. So XaaS, something as a service. This improves the financial ease of a financial director. So all of those things should be sold to someone who understands the benefits of this. And in this case, it's financial people, right? So this is one of the things that should be taken out here. That's why I put it here. Standalone and hybrid AI solutions are winning. Now first comes the Windows update in this year. Next year we will see a big growth. Actually, last event I came here, I attended, was the DataBox event, and I was shown a standalone solution on an Asus smartphone that could really translate and be a direct assistant. I was impressed. This is just 4 GB app that you can install, and it's a complete standalone internet-independent solution on your smartphone. That's amazing. And education to promote solutions and translated education is key. Don't forget this, it is an important component. I apologize, I was a little bit over the time. And with this, I give you back the remote. Thank you so much, Marta. Thank you. Thank you.